Welcome back to Inspo Sundays. Inspo Sundays are all about things that inspire me if I'm creating a photo shoot, starting a project, going somewhere, or I just have a creative block. I'll be highlighting books, websites, magazines, campaigns, really just anything that inspires me that I think is worth mentioning or checking out. Today I'm really excited because we're going to talk photography in fundamental but a different way. The question I want to present to you is have you ever thought of illustration? But before you go take an image, have you thought about the illustrative part of an image, right? So it's kind of two different formats of creation, but they kind of come together when it comes to different fundamentals. Today, the photographer I'm highlighting is DINO KUŽNIK. He's a Slovenian photographer. And this book is really, really awesome, and it's called Shaped by the West. Now, DINO KUŽNIK is somebody who's been inspiring me. I found out about him probably about a year or so, probably about a year and a half ago. And the way his images are captured is taking me back to what I learned in fundamentals of photography, even back in high school, but in a more fun and creative way. The way his images look, they look unreal, they look staged, they look painted, they look like there's a painting and he photographed that painting. Just his way of framing things and filling every single corner of a frame in a specific way that really takes me back to the fundamentals of photography. Like, what are the things that are important? He utilizes things like frame within a frame, or really awesome usage of rule of thirds. So really just those little quote-unquote boring fundamentals that we all remember learning about, the way he presents them specifically in this book is actually pretty cool and inspiring. Now, this book is something I pick up before maybe a trip. I don't do many landscapes, and this is very landscape heavy. But when I go to a trip that I know I'm going to be surrounded by nature, or I know that I'm not going to be photographing as many people, maybe it's going to be more street, this is something I like to look at before those trips. I picked up this book before my trip to California about a few months ago. Went to Joshua Tree, and I knew I had to look at this book to really get the perspective I wanted to do, and it really inspired me to push out my new zine, which is called Never Ending Reach. So I got inspired a lot by this book before that trip. Now, this book is called Shaped by the West. This is a book done by a publication called Ain't Bad, and they highlight a lot of really cool artists, so I do encourage you to check them out in general. Now, let's talk about the book. Sorry. Okay, so let's talk about this book. So I'm a big person when it comes to the way things feel. So first thing first, as you can see, I'm a big fan of this cover and the way it's made and the shape. It's just, the text is just carved into it, and the gold finishes. Oh, I love it. This is all great, but let's talk about the content inside of the book. So this book actually has a storyline. And the storyline is really cool because it's his story of getting an American visa. And he applied for an artist visa, and the application was denied. So that's just throughout the book. He also explains his process of getting an American visa, which is pretty cool. Now, a lot of his images are just very beautiful, beautifully shot, and one of my favorite things about his work is he utilizes this one fundamental quite a lot, and it's called frame within a frame. The way he frames things, finds things, out of nowhere, it's just there's a wall, and that wall has the most perfect hole in it, and in that hole is this beautiful sight, and you're like, how did you even find this? How does this exist? you sure you didn't build this? Like, it's just the way things are. He just runs, I guess, into a situation, or finds these situations, and he just photographs them in the most beautiful way. So I'm a big fan of how he does that. Also, his images are timeless. The West is very heavy on the older kind of style of things, a bit more classic, and it's definitely highlighted here. The little advertiser in me got really excited to see like all these old school signs and stuff like that. So his imagery is very timeless, from his street to his landscape. Another thing I'm a big fan when it comes to how this book is the way his images are laid out per spread. Actually, I got a lot of inspiration in the way he laid things out from this book for my zine, Never Ending Reach, just because of how, in a way, all over the place this is. How not everything is in the center or the same size. Things are kind of all over the place, but they work. They're still cohesive enough to create a pretty cool story. So you can see different things like from his images. Then he has a lot of like text explaining his journey on creating these images and becoming part of this American Western culture and becoming one with it and trying to get this visa all at once. So it's pretty awesome when it comes to his text. He highlights a lot of the nostalgia. He tried to like kind of push through these images and highlight it in the United States, even though he's from Europe. So I'm a big fan. Look at this. Look at that. How beautiful that is. So I'm a big fan of the way he makes things and creates it, and I'm a big fan of this book layout. I also love how at the end he has his picture of his American visa, which is a victory. So the flow, there's a beginning story, there's a explanation, a middle, and a resolution, which is pretty cool because you get like two things in one, I guess, in this book. You get a personal story and a photographic story. So this book, you can actually purchase it on Ain't Bad website. It runs for $40. I do encourage you to check out his work on his Instagram and website. I'll link it below. Actually, one of my favorite images he just launched, and he photographed Tyler, the creator, and those are beautiful. So I think you should check out his website or his Instagram. He has it on both to look at them. They really are amazing. So look into his work, see if you like it, and if you're a person who doesn't necessarily shoot a lot of people, or if you're somebody who's just looking to go back into fundamentals, or you want to learn about fundamentals of photography, I definitely think you should check him out, because it's not in the boring way. It's not going to show you, when you learn about these things, they show you the same 3 images to get the point across. But I think this is a very awesome way to take it back and look at it and get inspired by the way what you can fit in a frame, how you can do it with different things, from frame within a frame, rule of thirds. So big fan, check it out. Let me know what you think.